I don't know how, but Unai Emery has made Aston Villa into what Aston Villa used to be under Martin O'Neill. Like when I was growing up as a kid, Martin O'Neill's Aston Villa team were a superb team to watch. I remember Ashley Young is still in the team today, remarkably. Gabriel Ekbonlahor, John Grew, who else do they have? Stilian Petrov, James Milner, Gareth Barry. Such a brilliant team. And this team looks, if anything, just as good right now. Since Christmas, Aston Villa have been absolutely amazing and look a completely different side to what they were at the start of the season under Steven Gerrard. And I love Steven Gerrard, but as a manager, I think Unai Emery's, we've got to say, is a different level right now. Gerrard, I think he's done some good things in his managerial career. Winning the Scottish Premier League with Rangers was certainly a brilliant achievement with how dominant Celtic have been over the last 10 years. And he definitely helped Aston Villa when they were in a difficult situation last season. He steadied the ship a bit. He got players like Coutinho, Danny Ings, Jacob Ramsey all firing, and it was working for a period. But at some point at the start of this season, it just stopped really working. Things didn't go to plan. A few of the signings they made in the summer didn't go as well as Gerrard would have hoped. But since Unai Emery's come in, they look amazing. The midfield of Douglas Luiz, John McGinn, and, well, today it was Den Donker who started, but they just look amazing. Boubacar Kamara is usually the one who starts in there as well, but he was unavailable today. But they just look so good. Douglas Luiz looks like one of the best midfielders in the Premier League right now, and that's not even, exaggerating. I don't think. Ollie Watkins is absolutely on fire. I think he's got the most goals in the league since Christmas. So, yeah, it's just an incredible team. The defence, I've been a person who has criticised Tyrone Mings quite a lot throughout his Premier League career, because I just think that sometimes he can be a bit too hot-headed, a bit too rash, and can do things occasionally in the heat of the moment which, just aren't good for him or the opponent. So, I've never really taken to him that much. But right now, he looks like a solid defender. And his partner in defence, Ezri Konsa, as well, looks brilliant. The fullbacks, Alex Moreno looks like one of the signings of the season in terms of bargain signings. From La Liga, he just looks superb. And on the other side, Ashley Young. How old is he now? He's got to be 37, 38 this year, possibly. The fact that he's playing at the level he is right now is just unbelievable, to be honest. So it's just such a brilliant team. Buendia as well in attack. Jacob Ramsey, who I've mentioned earlier. They just seem to gel together so well. And for me, Watkins is the main one in just how good he's been in Unai Emery's team. Like Southgate was watching today. For me, right now, out of all the strikers you look at and say who's going to be Harry Kane's potential successor in a few years' time, I know Watkins isn't a youngster, really. He's sort of at like the peak of his career right now, where he should be at his best in terms of the age he's at. But in terms of England strikers who are trying to get into the squad to be the backup to Harry Kane right now and potentially succeed him, I think he's right now the best of the bunch, because you look at Callum Wilson, he's had a good season at Newcastle, but he's not doing the things that Watkins is doing right now. Calvert-Lewin just can't stay fit. Abraham, after a really good debut season at Roma last year, he's sort of taken a big dip this year. And I know that there's also a few other mentions. If you look at younger players, you've probably got Eddie Nketiah, who just can't really get a starting position in the Arsenal team right now. But for me, Watkins right now is just better than all of them, I think, just in terms of his all-round play, in terms of leading that forward line for Aston Villa. He's been told to change his game, clearly. He doesn't really come out wide anymore, and I think that was something that was sort of holding him back a little bit under Steven Gerrard and previous managers. Because when he stays central, what that means is the focus is on his teammates to find him. And with Watkins, he's that hungry a striker. He's that desperate to, play well for his team and do good for his team, that he'll chase absolutely anything. And with the athleticism that he's got, he can turn an average ball into a brilliant one. And you look at Newcastle's defence today. Newcastle are, this season in the Premier League, one of the best defensive teams. They might even be the best defensive team, maybe before today. But Watkins just made their defence look easy to pull apart. Botman, Shah, Trippier, Burn, they've been brilliant throughout this season. But today, it was just so easy. I know that playing at Villa Park was obviously a massive hand in the result today for Villa, because, Villa Park is one of them stadiums where it's really tough to get a result. The fans are ridiculously loud, and it's also one of them where it's like Anfield, where the seats where the supporters are sitting, it's really tight in close to the pitch, so the players are definitely going to feel it more. And I think that possibly could have impacted Newcastle today. I wasn't too sure about the lineup that Eddie Howe put out. It wasn't too bad looking at it. Like, the midfield and the defence were solid, but up front, Isak had a couple of half opportunities throughout the game, but the support from Anthony Gordon and, Murphy wasn't too bad, but I just think Anthony Gordon today really struggled to get into the game at all, to be honest. And to be honest, the whole Newcastle team struggled at getting forward, just because Aston Villa were that relentless at going forwards. Like, nothing was stopping them from making attacks happen. The first goal is just, another reason why Ollie Watkins is such a brilliant player right now. It just, the vision, more than anything, like the fact that he's even got to the ball to head it on a plate for Jacob Ramsey is brilliant. But the vision to do so, the awareness to know where his teammate is beyond brilliant, I think. And he just had a brilliant all-round game. In fact, he was margins away from a hat-trick, because obviously the first goal, the first time he had the ball in the back of the net, it didn't count. But we're talking a hairline offside. It was ridiculously close. Like, when VAR draw the blue line for where the defender is, and the red line if the attacker's offside, or a green line if he's onside. The red and the blue line, there was no space in between them at all. It was ridiculously close. And if Watkins had scored a hat-trick today, what a message that would be to the rest of world football. But a double is still a brilliant achievement regardless, because I don't think there's been many footballers who scored 2 goals in a game this season against Newcastle. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't any. That there probably is someone, but it's still ridiculously good from him. And Newcastle, this is, it's a bit of a spanner to the plan of getting top 4 this season for them. I still think Newcastle will probably get it. Aston Villa, if they can just maintain a Europa League place, because there's going to be, between now and the end of the season, there's going to be some point where Aston Villa, stumble a little bit. Right now, it's the best. I would imagine it's the best the atmosphere at the club's been in a long time, just because of how well they're doing. They're 6th, possibly 5th now in the league. They were 6th at the start of today. I don't know if they've caught up with, I think it's Tottenham above them. They might be on similar points, but it is the best the club's been, or the best the team's been, I think, in probably a decade, possibly even further back. So yeah, they are performing really well at the moment, Aston Villa. And as a neutral fan, it's quite nice to see when a team has been, I don't want to be harsh on Aston Villa, but average. I'd say average. They obviously had a 3-year period, I think, in the Championship. Now, that was obviously a bit of a dark time for the club, because Aston Villa, the size of the club, it's not really a championship club. It's, you know, one of the top 10 in English football, really, I think. So, yeah, the fact that they've managed to climb back to those heights this season is you know, it is nice to see. Newcastle, I think it's, you know, it's one where it's maybe taken them back down to earth a little bit, because they haven't had many big defeats this season, Newcastle, I don't think. So, you know, it's just one of them where it's back to the drawing board, work out what the problems were and try and improve from there. And that was always going to be the case for Newcastle for this season, because they were never going to win the Premier League this year. But it was, can they just keep on improving? Because I think with the investment they'll have in the team, I think it's sort of, you know, going to eventually happen. It's destined to happen, isn't it? Just because of the type of players they can buy. They can buy ready-made world-class players in their team. So, yeah. Anyway, what a result for Aston Villa, and what a monster Unai Emery's making them into right now. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.